why Babur came to Bharat and never returned. The common narrative is, unlike other invaders, Babur chose to stay back in India and consider her as own motherland. He was invited by Rana Sanga to fight against Ibrahim Lodi. Babur was not a jihadi warrior, rather he was secular. But the truth is something very otherwise. Unlike other invaders, Babur chose to stay because he had lost everything back in the homeland. There was easy revenue which is floating from the docile people of Indian people or the Indian subjects, and access of abundant wealth that existed in India. Babur had asked for help from Rana Sanga, not actually Rana Sanga had asked for help from Babur. Babur was, if you further even go and dig deeper into the Baburnama, you will even find that Babur was absolutely a jihadi warrior and there was nothing called secular within him. In 1505, he writes during his campaign towards Hindustan, "My desire for Hindustan had been constant. It was in the month of Shaban the sun brings an Aquarius." And he further mentions that he was just all dying to go to Hindustan from Kabul. It comes on the folio 269 of Baburnama. And on the left, the image what you see is kind of the journey what Babur made from Kabul to India. In 1526, Babur finally got succeeded of conquering Hindustan in fifth raid. So it was the fifth raid of Babur when he defeated Ibrahim Lodi. Babur acknowledges in Baburnama that Kandahar and Kabul were running in extreme crisis and it needed wealth of Hindustan. So he was coming to Hindustan to safeguard Kandahar and Kabul. He had no intention to do any good to India. Further, Babur mentions himself to be the third Tramontana conqueror of Hindustan, first being Mahmud. It also gives an indication of his pursuit to conquer Hindustan, also because of the jihadi pursuit of all the Tramontana conquerors, Mahmud being the first one. Further, if you go into folio 291 of Baburnama, one can observe his hatred for India culturally and climatically. He's not at all fond of India. He goes on to bring on a lot of disgust about whole of a cultural phenomenon which goes on in India. He even quips about the climate what India has. Further, in folio 291 and 292 of Baburnama, Babur also talks about advantages of India, but majorly it is on how easily he can draw the revenues. Babur mentions of abundant gold and silver. He also talks about easily available workforce, understanding of revenues which had been presented by Erskine, which was published in the Members of 1826 AD. But he further did some correction in 1854, where he puts a number which is just amazingly used. This revenue meant in 1528 for king who had lost whole core of his Samraj in Samarkand. Kabul was weak and was struggling for his existence. So now the question arises that, okay, he made some revenues. It's good, every king makes revenues. So what was happening to those revenues? If we really put it across to Indian subjects, or this went somewhere else. So Baburnama again gives a very different story altogether. So if we read on folio 294 of Baburnama, Babur writes, "Suitable money gifts were bestowed from treasury on whole army to every tribe there was Afghan, Hazara, Arab, Baluch, etc. to according to its position. Every trader and student, indeed every man who had come with the army, took ample portion and share of wordness and the gifts and the largest. And indeed to the whole various train of relations and the younger children went masses of red and white, gold and silver of plenishing, that is furniture and furnishings, jewels and slaves." So this was what Babur was doing to the wealth or the revenues that he had generated. Further, he even mentions that valuable gifts were sent for the various relations in Samarkand, Khurasan, Kashgar and Iraq. To holy men belonging to Samarkand and Khurasan went offerings vowed to God, so to Makkah and Medina. Babur also disbursed lots of money in Afghanistan. He writes, he gave one Saruki is silver, for every soul in the country of Kabul and valley side of Varsak in Afghanistan, man and woman, born and free of age or non-age. So till now, till folio 294, I assume that no one can even make out if Babur was really doing anything good to India. I really feel astonished at times that what source, primary or secondary, people are even trying to quote to justify that Babur was here to make India richer. Now, if we read the folio 353 of Baburnama, he mentions not Babur always wanted to be buried in Kabul. This clearly speaks of his non-connectivity with India. Had he been a little connected to India, he would have chosen to stay at Agra, where he wouldn't have had any problem. On the left, you can see the Babur's tomb in Kabul.